Arsenal picked up yet another clean sheet against Man United this weekend, with a lot of praise going to the core of the defence for how great of a season they have had. David Raya's impact on the team defensively has definitely gone under the radar. So today we're going to give him the credit he deserves and break down how he has been so impactful for Arsenal since signing last summer. Now, it's fair to say that David Raya has definitely had his critiques this season, especially considering he was replacing a fan favourite in Aaron Ramsdale. Now, Aaron Ramsdale had a brilliant season last year. It was slightly worse than David Raya at Brentford, but given the high level that he was playing at and his younger age, the difference didn't seem to be that much. However, as the season went on last year, Aaron Ramsdale started making big errors that led to opposition shots and, more importantly, goals in some of these occasions, such as the one against Southampton early on and poor performances in other games. Now, despite this, Aaron Ramsdale was still loved by the club and he was going to be the number one going into this season. And after 4 games of the season, he had a decent start but was a little bit lackluster in some of the games. This prompted Arsenal and Arteta to go out and buy a new goalkeeper, being David Raya, someone they were linked to back in 2020 before and when he joined the club, and someone he's been an admirer of many years, obviously coming from the same nation of Spain as Arteta. Now, throughout this season, David Raya has definitely got a lot of flack for some of the poor mistakes he has made leading to goals. He has made a few mistakes leading to goals, nearly the most in the Premier League. And even in games such as the Champions League, he has looked nervy at times, almost punching the ball into his own net. Now, despite this, Arteta has defended him and always talks about how he has made Arsenal better and ultimately is a better goalkeeper than Aaron Ramsdale. But why is this? And the first thing is definitely down to mentality. Now, this may seem a bit of an unrelated thing, but Aaron Ramsdale has came out before and said that he has to focus on things such as birds flying around the Emirates or things going on in the crowd to actually stay focused in a game. Now, overall, this isn't a massive issue, and considering he is a top goalkeeper, this isn't actually that deep. However, I believe Arteta wants someone that is focused within the whole game and won't let things get to him too much, because one of the criticisms he has and I have of Ramsdale is that when things are going bad, he's definitely down on himself and has that self-belief there where he is doubting everything he does, which is something you can't have at the top level. And a perfect example of this is when Arsenal played away against Tottenham. We were controlling the game and easily 3-0 up, and then David Raya decided to try and pass the ball out and ends up passing it to Romero, who got a goal back and gave a lot of momentum to Tottenham. And in this moment, obviously the fault is at David Raya, and I'm not saying it isn't, but in this moment and within this game later on, he took responsibility. And although he didn't save the penalty, he helped us get over the line in the end, claiming balls and being so dominant in his box. He was still demanding a lot of his defenders and wasn't staying quiet and wasn't nervous about the things that he had done, which ultimately shows great leadership in there. And great examples also of this is when we played in that Champions League quarter-final, where he really took demand of what we wanted to do and was the main player, obviously winning the penalty shootout, which shows great mentality anyway to keep it on. But more importantly, I think the interviews after that game actually showed what sort of a person he is, and he said that pressure is what you put on your shoulders. If you believe in yourself, you've got a big part to play, and he doesn't try to think about it too much. And with how Arteta has been building the teams, you can definitely tell he is going for a more grounded approach with his players. They not necessarily have the experience at this level, but they believe in themselves to the ability where pressure can no longer get to them, unlike last season where Arsenal crumbled. And I believe this is why we signed the players that we did. I think Havertz is another player that fits this mould. There was a lot of criticism a lot of times this season, and you can say that he wasn't playing with a lot of confidence, but I don't think in his interviews or how he played it's necessarily down to that. I just don't think he fitted the system and knew what he was doing. He never seemed like he really cared about the outside noise, and with Arsenal being a family atmosphere right now, I don't think any of the players in the squad, or at least that's what Arteta is trying to achieve. Now, the second major reason why I think David Raya is a big upgrade is because, of course, how he demands and controls his box, which has been spoke about loads. On the surface of it, it may not seem like a big thing, but it really is for how big teams want to play. One of the best ways to get at smaller and bigger teams is not necessarily down to good play, it's just playing a long ball system or a very big crossing system. A specific issue that I have with people like Vicario or Onana from Man United and Tottenham is that they actually stay on their line too much and don't come out and claim crosses. This means that the defense don't have to basically do a lot of last-ditch headers or duels in the air, and just eases a lot of pressure. And when you've got a goalkeeper that's always quite far off his line, this is obviously a much better thing just for if the ball is going to come over the top and you can close that angle down, or being closer to the defenders as it is. Ramsdale was not the best at doing this. There was a few times last season where teams would get one-on-ones against us and Saliba simply couldn't catch up. The space was too much and Aaron Ramsdale was not prepared enough to come out and actually make them saves. Aaron Ramsdale caught 5.8% of the crosses that came into Arsenal's area last season, which is not really good enough for a top team. This also halts Arsenal's counter-attack in a lot of situations because they can't rely on him to claim the ball in the air and quickly get them on the attack. This is something that Raya excels at brilliantly, and he did at Brentford as well. And not only is he in the top 1% of goalkeepers in Europe right now with crosses stopped in the top 5 leagues at around 13%, that is over 1.5 times better than what Ramsdale was doing last season. And this is making Arsenal much more comfortable. If you look at the average distance of defensive actions between Ramsdale and Raya's is around 17 meters, meaning he's actually making defensive actions a lot further away from the goal, which is what you want. You want your defenders in that having the pressure away. Aaron Ramsdale is sitting at around 14 meters, which is a lot closer to the goal, and he's making around 1.2 defensive actions outside the penalty area per 90, compared to the 1.6 that Raya does, which is a bit less. But it isn't just the claiming of crosses which make him a better goalkeeper for Arsenal, it's also the short passing which makes him a lot better player. Aaron Ramsdale has definitely got a tendency to struggle at short passing. He is someone that has developed long passing very well, and even then it's sometimes a bit off. His short passing has been quite poor, making mistakes and giving away goals, which we've even seen this season when he's come in. Now David Raya comes in and he has played for Brentford, who are a predominantly long ball system team. They liked putting the ball up to Tony last season and wanted to bring it down to give him a chance. Now while Aaron Ramsdale's was good, it wasn't excellent, and you definitely see a lot more David Raya long passes where Arsenal are getting pressed because he makes better decisions and can make that long pass a lot more consistently than Ramsdale. And even in the stat, he's making more of an average length of goal kicks, and he's actually launching the ball a lot more than Aaron Ramsdale was last season, despite Arsenal not taking a lot of goal kicks per 90, only sitting around 3. Last season it was a little bit lower. I think it's clear here though, but David Raya is having around 3 or 4 more passes per game than Aaron Ramsdale was, and for a goalkeeper that is actually quite a lot more passes, and he's attempting a lot more from shorter range as well. While this has obviously bided Arsenal some mistakes such as the Tottenham game, I think overall he has learned to develop that over time, and the fact that he doesn't lose confidence when he makes these poor mistakes, something that keeps him in over what Ramsdale was doing, because sometimes his head would drop when he'd make a mistake, especially early on in a game. And while these stats may seem quite small at the end of the day, they're actually very big of how Arsenal want to play. Aaron Ramsdale is probably a better shot stopper than David Raya, but even the stats haven't showed that, as last season he had around a 68 save percentage rate, and this season David Raya has around 72%, but you could also say that could be down to the fact that David Raya is having a lot of easy shots against him. But that's not what is important for this Arsenal team. Arsenal don't need to have loads of saves and expect their goalkeeper to make some outstanding saves per game. As long as they're more comfortable in defence, the clean sheets will rock it up. And now that David Raya has comfortably got the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season and got the Golden Glove, could be down to most goalkeepers not consistently playing as well, but also for the fact that Arsenal have got a core team as well. And while I still think Aaron Ramsdale would have been at a high level if he had played, because we've got Declan Rice and Ben White having brilliant seasons, last season, despite the defence being good, they were not at the elite level they are this season with David Raya within the squad. And in most games where we played Man United away and they only had 2 shots at David Raya's goal and they're very comfortable saves, a lot of people won't give him the credit, but the reason why the defence is so solid is because he does help the team press up and build up a lot with the ball and ultimately sustain possession in all phases. He's very good at doing long balls as well to Havertz, or keeping it short to the players around him, and that with his claiming from crosses make him an elite player for Arsenal, because he does exactly everything they want. It's not about shot stopping for a team like Arsenal, because they don't expect to give away many shots, and they haven't this season given away the least in the league. And while this video we have gone through the different ways David Raya has made Arsenal better, ultimately the reason why he has made us better is because Arteta chose him. His talent search right now is absolutely impeccable, and every single player he brings in is definitely worth it for the squad. And his interview where he stood by his decision and he said that he wanted him over Ramsdale, a fan favourite, shows the ruthlessness and we needed in a manager for so long. It doesn't mean Ramsdale's a bad goalkeeper at all, because he's done a lot for the club and is a brilliant player, but he isn't the one that fits us when Raya is there. And for £30 million, given his age where he could play share us for many years' time. It's got to go down as a brilliant signing yet again from Mikel Arteta and Edu from the whole of the team. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this new style I might adopt, where I go a little bit slower about players or talk about different things into a more of a detailed subject wise, or let me know if you think you liked the older videos much better. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to watch my video yesterday, please go and watch my video about why William Saliba is world class and was world class against Manchester United. If not, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.